Hello and welcome to today's edition of TOSIN'S Corner. Today we'll be discussing attitudinal change or behavioral patterns limiting our growth as a person or as a people or as a nation. And I have joining me someone that you are very, very familiar with, Dr. Komolafe in the studio. He is a venture capitalist, transformation coach. Thank you, Dr. Komolafe, for joining me.
Great to be here, Tosin.
Thank you. Let's talk about attitudinal change. As a behavioral therapist, could you first of all help us highlight some of the many negative behaviors that affect and hinder our growth as a nation or as a people?
Attitude is everything. It's not even what you know, how much you are known, the height you have attained, and whatever you have done so far, so good. Attitude is critical. Life comprises of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the difference between these three personas is the attitude you exude. It's not enough to say something good and great, but what is the attitude behind it? Attitude will either feed you or starve you, irrespective of what you know. It's no longer sufficient to see going to school. You can have all of the certificates and the array of credentials, but what is the attitude? Majorly, we have the positive attitude and the negative attitude. I want to say on this platform, choose to be positive. You don't pay money nowhere to have a positive attitude. The can-do spirit. It can happen. It is possible. Once you start from that template, you are good to go in life. It's not about money that you are looking for, but the meaning you are ready to contribute. And it all begins from attitude. So I know what you are going through, I know what you're suffering, I know how to do this, I know how to fix that. It was John Maxwell that says, people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. The bottom line is still attitude. So you want to be 100% excellent, effective, efficient, the one who delivers results out there. Please let attitude lead you first.
All right, doctor, could you share one notable experience of bad behavior or attitude that you may have experienced with someone?
I used to have one of my drivers who was very good at driving, good at his job, decent, reporting to work early and all of that, fully compliant with rules and instructions. But one day he shocked me and I sacked him straight off. What did he do? After parking the car, normally he would sit at the reception with the receptionist and all that, and the receptionist was not there. And here was a brand new computer that we have uploaded so many of our files. This driver told a guest who came to see me that, please, I just want to pick something, I want to pick food and eat downstairs. If a guy asks of me, please let him know I'm just around. I just had as if something fair, and I mentioned his name. He was not there to answer. Where did you go? He said, sir, I left a man here. Who is the man? He said he came to see you. So we now discover that was the man that invariably ran away with the laptop. I said, what? My pain was not even the laptop. What was inside the laptop, which I could not retrieve. So that brought him down that day, and I had to just sack him, at least to get a relief to myself, to say, okay, please, now that you have shown me this, seeing you around me is already a pain. And then later he came back with a letter sir, I know you are a good man and all that. I got a job somewhere and I want you to recommend me. I say, young man, I'm sorry, because I don't lie. He was not happy about it, but I liked it that way because attitude is critical. Don't compromise that. People must know you with something, otherwise you are at the mercy of everybody. Your portrait is not just about the picture and the face behind the glass. You want to see what you communicate to people. When your name comes out, even when you are not there, what's people's opinion about you? What's their thought pattern like? What is your essence communicating is critical in attitude.
Thank you. Though we are not here to trade blame, but how did you think we got here? I'm going to cite instances. The reason, or let me say what informed this particular topic, is the way things are being done around us here. For instance, if you're going towards the Wuse axis, in fact, let me not even go for it. You see drivers parking indiscriminately, not minding. It also boils down to attitude, not minding the next motorist. Like 2-3 days ago, I was on my way to the office, and then a man was blocking me, just parked, and a passenger was alighting from the vehicle, and I bled them home for him. Should you block me in the first place? No. And when the other person is blaring their horn, what do? You move, you pave way for the person. This man stood still, didn't move until he was satisfied with what he was doing. So back to my question, how did you think we got here? Because there are a lot of instances I could cite, and they are very relatable. You might have come across them. So how did you think we got here?
See, our value system is fast on the nosedive. What was important in the 70s, 80s, 90s are no longer our sense of pride and sense of value. Value degradation is critical to all these disturbances we have, where people take things for granted, where people say it doesn't matter, where people just feel it's the norm, let's do it the way they are doing it. I don't want to be different. Remember, I told you, attitude stands you out. Not if you cannot beat them, you join them.
And that is what is obtainable nowadays.
Many things are going the wrong order, but don't join up with the Joneses to do the bad.
It's appalling that when we travel outside of the shores of Nigeria, we tend to, this saying of when you're in Rome, you behave like the Romans.
We get it right.
We get it right.
I can't forget one of my experience in Atlanta, Georgia. All through my travel in the state to some other states in America, everything was peaceful, orderly, until I was returning to Nigeria. At Atlanta, Georgia, where you see Naija people, then I saw fight and quarrel and shout. Why? It's a frame in our mind. And you see, that's why government policy, National Orientation Agency, and all the like have a critical work to do to restore us back to our values, cultural values. That's why I must give it to Otumba Runshewe, my good friend there, who is doing a great work in Nigeria in making sure he unites the country through culture. Culture is who we are in the original setup. When you are yourself and myself, then we have a nation.
I would like to adopt that mantra of the change begins with you and I.
Yes.
So individually, what do you think we can start doing to curb all these menace?
1, be yourself in the good manner and in the good order. Every man has the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then 2, stop taking things personal. You are not the only one heaven is falling upon. Know that everybody is going through one pinch or the other. You are not the only one in that market. And then learn to build what we call emotional intelligence.
It's very key.
Very, very vital. Your capacity to know yourself, know your environment, and self-regulate. Know what obtains wherever you find yourself and put yourself in other people's shoes.
So our environment also play a huge role in all of this mess. What is the role of the family? Because we need to also identify it start from somewhere, which is the family. What is the role of the family in all of this?
It all begins there, Tosi. Charity still begins at home. And the home, the basic family unit, is the microcosm of the society, we call it. In other words, no society without the home. What is the family upbringing? Parenting. In fact, in Cyber Resources, we created a work not too long on 20 types of parenting. Analog parenting, digital parenting, locomotive parenting, computer parenting, automotive parenting, and all kinds of parenting that we have in our society today. And all of them have consequences. Parents should be there for the children to teach values, family values. Your child comes home with a pencil. I don't know if they use pencil nowadays. In our own time, it was HB pencil, crayon, and all of that. He comes home with a pencil that is not his. And he says it's his friend. Find out, John, you came home with a pencil. This is not your pencil. Whose pencil? Oh, it's my friend's pencil. Why did you come home with your friend's pencil? Don't you have your own? He says, I told him. And he said, go with it. Then put in value there. Teach that boy to know how to be responsible and how to be content with what he has. Don't just carry cane and say, don't take somebody. No. You are simply analog in your treatment. That is a learning curve for that boy to now see and know that, okay, so I shouldn't bring what is not mine. And even when my friend forces it on me, I should say no and give a gap. You know how we grew up in those days? Our parents would just use eyes to talk to us. Once your mother winked like this with one eye, he is saying no. A stranger, a visitor comes in to say, take. Where do you look at first? Look at your parents. But these days, even when the parents talk, they say, Mom, what happened? It's not you, it's me. They are giving the money. Why? We have a framework and a system now that is heavily polluted. I'm just afraid for the next leadership generation. But there is a way out. We must start now to do it right. Fix it right. So role modeling is critical to value reorientation for national transformation. And it begins with you, it begins with me.
Exactly. So, Doctor, on this note, let's quickly go on a short break. The program is TOSIN'S Corner. It continues in a moment. Just stay with us. All right, welcome back. If you are just joining us, it's TOSIN'S Corner, and we are discussing attitudinal change. So, Doctor, earlier on we discussed about family, at the family level. Now let's go to schools. What about schools? What should proprietors start doing to imbibe the culture of good attitude in our classrooms?
They must put meaning before money. And that is huge. These are the days you find some proprietors and proprietresses doctoring results just to sell to parents that they are best of the schools. You pass all the children, all the pupils, because you want to score grade A as an advertisement strategy to have more pupils in your school. That's not right. If charity begins at home, it must continue in the schools. And suffice it to say that the proprietors and proprietresses are also parents in their own ranking. So they should carry the attitude from home to schools. And then the curriculum, the teaching curriculum should also integrate total quality management that extends even to the parents and teachers and students in a synchrony, where lessons learned from home enjoy support from school and vice versa, so that it's a framework.
All right, Doctor, wrapping up. In this regard, who has more work to do? Is it the family, the school, the government, or religious bodies, or traditional rulers?
There is no more value creation. And because no value creation has that at various segments of society, we have corruption. Corruption does not begin with money. It begins with our being incapacitated to make meaning realizable. So where your belonging to a family does not make sense, call it a bluff on your parents and all of that, then you can't make sense out there. And then people in leadership at any level should also be decent. Stop parading wealth as though wealth is just automatic. Let's put emphasis where it belongs. The health of our people, the strength of our people should generate the wealth. Not just wealth. See what I have, my Rolls Royce, my cars and all that. And that's why our children these days, they graduate, they want to ride Jeep. Instant gratification. Nobody wants to go through the properly, the process. And then we are all where we are. But there's a way out. Change begins with me, it begins with you. Fix it right, do it right, keep it simple and safe, and we have a better society for it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Komolafe.
Thank you very much.
We always call on you, and you always, show up. Change begins with you and I, just like we have rightly, stated earlier on. It is a concerted effort. We all have a role to play in the development of our nation, of our dear country. Thank you so much for being part of TOSIN'S Corner today. See you again next week for another interesting edition. Thank you for watching.